home food could not mean more. It's their everything. It's everything that drives their life.
How did you pick these restaurants? How did you pick these 3 restaurants?
Well, when we did Into the Fire, the first season, we had 6 different restaurants. One of them was a restaurant called Trio that was in Evanston, Illinois, and Grant was the head chef. And he had just taken on his first position after working for Thomas Keller at the French Laundry. And it was brilliant. It was really the genesis of what would later turn into Alinea. And it was before he got cancer. It was 2 months before he got the James Beard Rising Star Award. He was this phenom waiting to happen. And I, just knew that his story was so much bigger than that one 22-minute episode of television.
Right.
So he was on the list from the start.
And even before all the additional drama happened, all he did, the cancer and whatnot, and the Michelin, even back when he was still at Trio, he was still that same person that you saw there. He was still that same eccentric genius. The drama that then that then entered his life only accentuated everything, but he was already that person. And for that reason, we knew we wanted to sort of stay in touch with him and tell his story later.
So did you already know about his cancer when he decided to be in the film?
Yes.
So you knew that was part of the backstory. How is he now?
He's cancer-free for, I believe, 6 years now.
Oh, great.
Yeah, he's doing well.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear. How about the other restaurants? The one in Iowa is amazing.
Yeah. It was important to have 3 restaurants that were incredibly diverse. Different, points along the spectrum of dining. Specifically did not want 3 fine dining restaurants. The other 2 are really based on restaurants that I grew up with in South Texas. There's a little restaurant in Corpus Christi, Texas called Andy's Country Kitchen, which, it's a town of 250,000 people, and so it's a little bigger than Balltown, which is 70. But it's the kind of restaurant where you see the same people eating breakfast there every morning. Every town has one of those. The place where community happens around food, and I wanted that, but on a higher stakes level, and I found out about this town. I think the first thing I did was start searching for the oldest restaurants in America, and this is the oldest one in Iowa. And immediately you get these contradictory statistics. Town of 70, restaurant holds 400. They serve 2,000 on some weekend days. There's 7 locals who have the key to the restaurant, who open before the owner gets there. And then you find out the story of the fires, and the story about how it was really put to the test how important the restaurant was to the community. So that was, above and beyond.
You didn't know about the fires when you first heard about the restaurant?
No.
Okay.
And then the third restaurant, again, it's a common story that never gets told. You never turn on Food Network or Bravo and see a story usually about a restaurant failing or a family whose house is in foreclosure. Yet it probably happens, 100 times a year in every city. And growing up in South Texas, there were Mexican restaurants on every corner, a lot of restaurateurs who came to the country in search of the American dream, a better life. That's exactly what their story was. So I knew I wanted to find that. It was a difficult find because you're looking for a restaurant that nobody knows about, that isn't doing very much business. But we looked and looked, did some eating trips, and finally picked Tucson, did some searching, and found this tiny little blurb about Gabby on the internet somewhere. Found a picture of their parking lot and their sign, and I got on the plane the next day and had lunch there and met them, and they were immediately the person, the heart, pouring heart that you see from Francisco was just the person in front of me within 5 minutes.
How were they doing?